Hello guys, my name is Dr. Shubham Malhotra and I want to share a very good news with all of you that I have recently cleared my USMLE Step 1 which was conducted in November 2024. So I thought I should guide my juniors and my friends, those who are thinking about giving USMLE Step 1. So let's start. USMLE Step 1 is a computer-based MCQ exam. It's 8-hour long exam. It consists of 7 blocks and in each block you have to give 40 MCQs. So in total the exam is 8 hours long, which includes 1 hour of break time. USMLE Step 1 exam you can give in your home country as well as in US. It depends upon you. USMLE Step 1 covers your first and second year MBBS subjects, and if you have studied from some other countries like Ukraine or Russia, you can give it in third year, and in India you can give it in third year also. So when you think about giving USMLE, first of all you have to make an ID for USMLE and you have to register yourself with ECFMG, and on this you can find a lot of videos. So if we talk about USMLE exam fees, it as per when I gave it, I paid around 1,195 US dollars, $1,000 for the exam and $195 because the exam was conducted outside of US, so they took an extra 195 US dollars from me. So most of you will be thinking, so when is the best time to give USMLE Step 1? From my point of view, whenever you think that you want to give USMLE, that is the best time. So if you are in your first year of your college, then you should study the college basic subjects very well the first 2 years, and in third year you can give the USMLE Step 1. So it doesn't matter in which year, because I graduated and now I gave my Step 1, so it doesn't really matter when you want to give. It's just like whenever you feel ready, give it. Timeline overview. I would say it will take around 6 months, approximately 6 to 7 months, if you have your good basics. Yeah. And I would divide this into pre-dedicated and dedicated period. Pre-dedicated, it will be around 3 to 4 months, and dedicated will be around 2 months. In pre-dedicated period, you will be solving questions, building your concepts, and reading the first aid for the first time. You will be getting acquainted to the pattern of the USMLE exam. So in these 3-4 months, you will read first aid and all other supplements. Dedicated period, you will revise practice questions, self-assessments, etc. There is one notion that more the knowledge, more the marks. So I would say it is not true, because after a certain amount of time, for example, if you have studied for 7-8 months and if you feel confident, I think you should give the exam, because with time knowledge plateaus and the stamina of sitting for 8-hour long exam will reduce. So I would advise you to give it as soon as you think you are ready. So now let's talk about the resources. The two ultimate resources for USMLE Step 1 exam is First Aid and UWorld. There are some supplement resources that I would advise you to give it a read if you wanted to. For example, Board and Beyonds. Board and Beyonds is a video series made by Dr. Rohan, and I would say that is the best thing that I came across in my as a medical student journey, because I studied from Board and Beyonds. So I would advise you to give it a look. The other thing is Pathoma, that is for pathology. That is also very nice. The third supplement resource is Sketchy. it Most of the students, they use it for micro and pharmacology, but you can use it for any other subject that you like. So now let's talk about UWorld. I would advise you to start UWorld as early as possible, because most of the students, what they would do is they will read first aid first, they'll finish the first aid, and then they will start doing the UWorld. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to start UWorld with your first aid in your pre-dedicated period, because what it would do is it will make your brain accompanied and adapted to the USMLE pattern. You will see how the questions been asked in USMLE step exam. So, and one thing I would like to tell you is don't worry about scores, because in your initial period you will be scoring less, but that doesn't matter. Remember, UWorld is a learning tool, not an assessment tool, so the marks are not going to matter in UWorld question bank. In UWorld, there are approximately 3600 questions, and they are very concise, and I would advise you to do it once, at least once, but or you can do it twice. Now we'll talk about first aid. First aid is the best book that I have ever read. It consists of second year subjects in a very crisp and concise manner, and even if you don't want to give USMLE step 1, I would advise you to review it and to revise for your other medical exams. So how would you study first aid? I would say in first 3 months of your preparation, read first aid and then start UWorld questions side by side, so that would give you a good grasp over your concepts. Now, practice tests. There are different practice tests available for you to see where you stand in your preparation. First is NBME. So NBME is the board which makes USMLE exams, and fortunately for you and me, it also makes these NBME mocks. So if you want to test yourself for USMLE step 1 after your preparation, I would advise you to give NBMEs. There is one more resource for practice tests, that is UWSAs, that is UWorld Self-Assessment. It's in the UWorld app only, and they are also very nice, although I haven't given UWSAs, so I can't comment on that. And the third and the best resource for practice is Free 120. Free 120, these are the free 120 questions that are 3 blocks that I would advise you to give in the last week of your preparation, because this is the most common and this is the most relevant, and the questions and the concept that are asked in Free 120 are most similar to the real step 1 exam. So I would highly recommend it, Free 120. Now NBMEs are online as well as offline. So what I did, I gave all the NBMEs offline, but my friends, they told me that online is better, because they can give you the better picture of it, but each NBME will cost around $60, and I wouldn't want me to spend on that, so I took offline, and that you can find on Telegram groups. So yeah. And how many NBMEs did I take? I took around 6 NBMEs from 26 till 31, and I gave the latest NBMEs that are 30, 31 during the last month of my preparation. Now, most of the students, what they will do is they will not take their practice test very seriously, and this is the main reason that why most of the students fail. Now, let's see guys. NBMEs are the mocks, and they will prepare you to sit for longer hours of exam, which you are going to sit in the real exam. So if you will not sit seriously in these mocks, then that will not give you the correct assessment of your scores, because I've seen so many people, they will score good in NBMEs, but they'll not do that ideally. They will take longer breaks, but in the real exam, the breaks are not that longer. So I would advise you to take these exams very seriously. And what I used to do when I gave these NBMEs, I used to review it thoroughly. I used to give 1 day each for my NBMEs, and I used to give after 7 days, and that is the ideal time that you should give NBMEs after. I think you should give it a gap of 7 days. But if you want to improve it in NBMEs, I would advise you to review your NBMEs very thoroughly. And one more thing that I would like to tell you is, it it's said like if you score more than 70% in your MEMEs, then you're good to go. But I would advise you to take more than 75% in NBMEs in consecutive 3 to 4 NBMEs, because that will give you the confidence to appear for the USMLE Step 1 exam. Because I've seen a lot of my friends, those who scored 60s, 65, although there are many students, those who passed the USMLE Step 1. But nowadays, the question pattern has changed. So I would advise to score more than 70-75% in NBMEs if you want to get confidence for USMLE Step 1. Now I would give you a basic timeline or a timetable sort of thing that I did, and I can tell you to do that. So for example, if you are preparing for 6 months of time, divide into 2 phases, 4 and 2. 4 is pre-dedicated period, 2 is dedicated period. Now in the first 4 months, what you would do is you'll start reading first aid. Topic wise, you can use systems or the basic subjects, and you'll start solving UWorld of the same topic that you have studied from first aid. And you should do 40 questions per day from UWorld. And although it's not necessary that you want to do 40, you can do less, you can do more, but 40 is ideal. And this way you'll finish your first aid and UWorld in these first 3-4 months. And side by side, in this pre-dedicated period of 4 months, you should study sketchy, pathoma, and board and beyond. So what I did, I studied first of all board and beyond, then I studied that topic from first aid, and I solved the questions from UWorld. This way you can also do that. Sketchy, micro and pharma and pathoma, these are supplementary resources, and this depends upon you whether you want to do it or not. But I would advise you to do board and beyonds and first aid side by side with UWorld question bank in these first 4 months. And then in the last 2 months, that is your dedicated period, you can start solving your NBMEs, UWSAs. But don't forget to revise first aid side by side. In these 2 months, you should revise your first aid at least 2 or 3 times. So this will give you a 3 to 4 reads of first aid, and that is the limit. And now, before 1 week of your exam, I would advise to give you should give free 120, and you can read first aid once again, and TFs available. The pictures that are frequently asked in USMLE Step 1, you can do that, and that is it. Now on to the bonus point. Guys, you should stick to limited resources, and you should revise those resources again and again, because there are some students, those who will go here and there and they will do lots of things, but in the end they would not be able to revise it. So I would say limit your resources, but revise it again and again, and then you're good to go. And remember, USMLE Step 1 is a doable exam. If your man is saying that it's not doable, then they are telling you a lie. You don't need any fancy course. You don't need any fancy study courses. You just have to believe in yourself. Study for this 6. Give it a 3 to 4 read of first aid. Give UWorld, first aid, board and beyond, and then you're ready to go. Thank you.